Baruch
Haboim B'Shem Eirgin Shir Torah. We would like to welcome everyone to today's shir from Rabbi Yakov Zev Smith Shlita on the topic of the preferred day and time to say Kidush Levanah. However, we'd like to have the great schus of sponsoring a shir called Eirgin Shir Torah at 718-851-8651.
The sugya of today is always negay, every month in a different way. Do you wait for 3? Do you wait for 7? Do you wait for Matzai Shabbos? Do you wait me'es la'es? But this month it was very unusual, if you remember last Shabbos, in many shuls they announced the Moiled is given. It was 2:10 p.m. The Moiled is given 2:10 p.m. Now you must have scratched your head and wondered, it's not yet 2:10. That's part of the sugya today. The Moiled that we announce is really the Moiled in Eretz Yisrael. So when we daven in the morning was ready, the Moiled is given. And that's why this month was unusual, that there is possible some could have made Kidush Levanah, believe it or not, Matzai Shabbos, even though it's still Nisan. Some would have done it Sunday, some would have done it Tuesday, some would have done it Matzai Shabbos, because as we'll see, there are different minhagim when to do it. And I would like to try to discuss this beautiful inyan. Besides the standard questions, we'll have time, we'll talk about those that have an early Ma'ariv. Is there too early of a time for Kidush Levanah? Of a mitzvah boy that's going to be a mitzvah, Yud, Iyar, should he wait till after the bar mitzvah? And such similar questions. But as Derech always is, and I think today is a perfect example, as you find one Yesod could give you guidance for the whole sugya, we have to try to clarify what is the nature of the bracha of Kidush Levanah. We call it Kidush Levanah. The Shulchan Aruch refers to it as Birchas HaLevanah. It's a bracha. Is it a regular Birchas Hanenin? We make a bracha that we're able to use the light of the Levanah. In fact, we know when it's very cloudy, we don't make the bracha. There may be halacha paskins, like most paiskim, that a blind person who can't see the Levanah doesn't make a bracha. Is it a regular, typical Birchas Hanenin? Or maybe you have to look at the nusach of the bracha and you get a different feeling of what the bracha is all about. We say, Baruch Atah Hashem mechadesh chadoshim. Now we know, we find this in the beginning of Psachim, that the bracha is always indicative of the nature of the mitzvah. Lahadik ner shel Chanukah hadlaka oisa mitzvah. If the bracha is mechadesh chadoshim, it seems like that the Birchas Levanah is a bracha on the Chiddush of the Levanah. In other words, at the end of the month, the Levanah is no longer visible. Now, in the beginning of the month, we're experiencing the rebirth of the Levanah, the reappearance of the Levanah. Maybe the bracha is that once again, the world is functioning perfectly and we're able to see the Levanah. I'll give you a mashal l'saber ha'oizim. The bracha that was zeicha to say in Chodesh Nisan, the Birchas Ilanois. The Gemara says when you see ilni lamlavlavi, when you start seeing the budding of a tree, what kind of bracha is that? You know, when you see apples growing, it's too late. Why is it too late? I have a great hana when I see an apple. Teretz is adarabah. When you see an apple, it's time to make a bar pri eitz. It's too late. When you see that a tree that was dead during the winter, and now it's starting to grow. In fact, the Paiskim use a lashon that Birchas Ilanis is a form of Tchias HaMesim. We make a bracha when we see the renewal of a tree. I'll give you another example. The bracha that we say once in a while, Birchas Achama. It's not a bracha on the Hanoah from the Levanah, from the sun. When we see the sun in the position that it was so many years ago, we make a bracha. Maybe the bracha of Levanah is a bracha that once again the month is functioning perfectly and it's starting to reappear. You'll ask me, what's the nafkamina? Just make the bracha, a beautiful nafkamina. If the bracha is a Birchas Hanenin, then how could you make it the first of the month? A tiny sliver that's barely visible? There's not enough hana. But if the bracha is mechadish chadoshim on the chidush, then the earlier you do it, the better it is. This is our question. But you wait till 7 days, it's like saying Mazel Tov after the Sheva Brachas. Now you wake up. If the bracha is Mechadish Chadashim, how do you wait 7 days? And listen to a Gemara Sanhedrin. The Gemara Sanhedrin, Daf Mem Aleph Mem Beis, as we know, is the Makar of Birchas Levanah. At Kama Mavarchen Ala Chaydesh, Ad Shetismalib B'Kimasa. When is the latest day to do it? And when it's full. Zok Rabbi Yaakov Bar Idi Ad Shiva. The latest day for Kidush Levanah is the 7th day. Okay, the Gemara says, Nardoi says, the 16th till the 16th, and that's where we paskin. But the mere fact is a shita that beyond 7 you can't do it is a tremendous chiddush to us. What's taka de b'shat? Zok Rashi, after 7, lo yishayich l'mei mechadish chadashim, sharei kvar no yishenes hi. It's an old story. In other words, the Gemara Rashi is explaining that the bracha is mechadish chadashim. It has to be a new phenomenon. It has to be the beginning of its rebirth, a newborn. After 7 days, like that sheet is like saying Mazel Tov after the Sheva Brachas. If you look at the Torah, in our Simon Tov Chavav, the Torah says, after 7, Kra Yoshanu, Ve'ene Roi Levarech Al Chidushay. But even though we paskin, you go until the 16th, but it seems like this Bavli, the Ikka Bracha is on the Chidush. So the earlier, the better. But that's not the complete picture. If you recall, one of the main sources of Kidush Levanah is also Masechta Seifrim, Perik Chaf, in the beginning. And I quote, Ein mevarchen ala yareach, ela b'maitzoi Shabbos, kishu mevussim uvekelim noyim. Now we'll soon see that's an integral part of Kidush Levanah, to say it when you're in a Dahaibana mood. After Shabbos, you're wearing big day Shabbos, you're on a spiritual high. So that we'll soon come back to. But Zokter Beinu Yoina, and the Beinu Yoina is in Brachas, Daf Chafalef and Daf Yarif. I don't understand, what's the mile of Matzai Shabbos? Apparently, it's not a better Levana. Zokter Beinu Yoina, listen to this. The real girsa is that when the Levana is Mevusim, what did that mean? Mishasha Masuk Or Shalom V'Adam Nene Mimenu Shezeu Acha Shnei Yamim Oishloisha. The first time to do it is the 3rd day. 2nd or 3rd day, we'll soon see Pshat. But the first time to do it is the 3rd day. Aval Yerech Ben Yaimai, a newborn Levana, Mitoch Katnusai Eina Or Shalom Masuk She'ein Adam Nene Mimenu. Rabbi Yaina is clearly saying you can't do it on the 1st day. There's no Hana. The Beis Yosef points out that even though we don't have that girsa, but the Rabbi Yaina is adamant, you can't make a bracha on a levana that's barely visible. There's not enough Hana. In fact, Rabbi Yaina in his other Sefer, Sefer Hayira, Ois Ayin Vav, says you make a bracha on levana mishiya Oisay La'oira. When you're able to have Hana. It reminds me of the Matzai Shabbos Birchas Haner. The point that we see, Zokta Beis Yosef, Rabbi Yaina holds, you have to be able to have Hana from the Levana. The Abu Draham in Birchas, in Brachas Shar Ches, and what's interesting, the Eshkol in Hilchas Chodesh Yudalet says, Lo Yavareh Kol Zman Shehu Katan. Too small is no good. So Rabbi said, I don't know if you realize, but we see a machlokes in the very nature of the bracha of Levana. The simple reading of Masechta Sanhedrin is, we want the person, we want the Levana should be a Chidush. So the bracha is on the Levana. But you don't have to have Hana. Rabbi Yaina is saying you must be able to have Hana. It's not good the first 3 days. You have to see a sizable Levana to be able to make the bracha. The nafkamina is, according to the Bavli, it would come out that the optimum time to do it is day 1. Rabbi Yaina clearly refutes that the first time to do it is day 3. Now, of course, I must add that it makes sense. No one would hold it's only a regular, simple Birchas Hanenin. Because Lamaisa, we don't eat the Levanah. We don't stand there and read by the Levanah. The only question is the real focus on Chidush, and even a slight Hana, even a sliver of a Levanah is good enough, or you have to have a Chidush, but it also has to have Royu Lahana. That's why I understand the Machlokes. Is it the earliest time, the Chidush, or you have, of course it's Chidush, Mechadish Chadashim. You can't do it beyond the 16th day, but you have to have a Chidush that's Royu Lahana. But let's not forget, all agree there has to be some Chidush, because the 17th day of the month is pretty much Hana, but it's not the time. So the Machlokes is, do you need Chidush Dafka, or Chidush that's Royu Lahana? Now, all agree that ASAP, because if the brach is on Mechadish Chadashim, don't wait, because the longer you wait, the less Chidush there is. How do we paskin? So the Rambam in Hilchos Brachas Yud Zayin, his lashon is unmistakable. Im leibirach aleh b'layla rishayna mivarach aleh ad tezayin b'chodesh. Zokt the Rabbeinu Menoyach on the Rambam and the Ramesh in Chelik Aleph Kuf Mem Gimel. The Rambam's opinion is that the optimum time to do it is day 1. B'di'eved im leibirach, you could do it until 16. That's the sheet of the Meiri and the Yad Ramah. The Aruch HaShulchan in Yud Gimel points out that Rashi's lashon in Sanhedrin, im leibirach hayom yivarech, you could do it until the 7th or 16th. Rabbeini, so Zoktar HaShulchan, it seems Rashi holds like the Rambam that the right time is day 1. The Sharat Tzion, the Magen Avraham and Sivkot and Yud Gimel quotes the Seif HaKana that says that. And this was the minig, the Kamarna in the Zoya Chai and Parshas Va'era. He says, don't wait for anything. Don't even wait for a minyan. As soon as you see it on the first night, make Kidush Levanah. Now, Lamaisa, I must tell you, if you do want to do it the first night, you have to be very on top of things. Because it's rarely visible and barely visible on the first night. It comes and goes. But if you want to know whose minig this is to do it on the first night, it's based on Rishonim, and Lamaisa, I think only the Kamarna was the one that was makbet to do it. However, it seems that most of Klal Yisrael wait at least for 3 days. We'll soon see where the minig of 7 days comes from. But one thing I'll tell you, we once had the Shaila, someone was undergoing surgery, the beginning of the month. He was afraid to wait until after the surgery. He didn't know if he'll be up to it. He wanted to make it the first of the month. So how could you say not to make it? And I found the Prima Godim in the Tshuva Sefer Megiddo is Kuf Beis, Im Yodeya She'yef Shalei La'acha Gimel Yamim Yachol Miyad Shirenu. The Prima Godim is learning up the Gemara. The Gemara, the Rambam, many Rishonim hold the Chatchila. Now, even though our minig is not to do it the first day, but if someone's afraid to wait beyond the first day, you could tell him to do it the Chatchila the first day. We heard a Shaila where a young light that moved to Australia, again, it was a novelty living in a country that had such a different time zone, and they made it on the 3rd day like the minig always was. But they chapped afterwards that Australia is so many hours after early that they made it before 3 days from the Moed Yushalayim. They have an Echetimtza that it's 16 hours ahead, so they made it the 3rd day, but it was not in the 3rd day based on the Moed. So, or the Yoitze B'di'eved, the answer is Avada. That I saw Shlomo Zalman in Halichos Shlomo in Rosh Chodesh, Perik Aleph Hara 108, not regarding this Shaila, but he says if someone did it early, Avada is Yoitze. So Lamaisa, we see that the first day is something that makes sense, based on the Gemara and the Rishonim. But as we said, the minig is not like that, but all agree as soon as possible, that's a better quality Birchas Levanah. What really needs a big hezbah, we saw from the Bavli the first day. We saw from Masechtas, from the Rabbeinu Yoina, 3 days. Where did 7 days come from? And the kasha for us this morning is even stronger. There's a sheet in the Gemara, you can't do it beyond 7. So why do some, or many, lechatchila wait for 7, something that according to Rabbeinu Yaakov Bar Idi is the bracha of Atala? So I must tell you that it's not in Shas. The minig of 7, the Beis Yosef quotes one of the Mekubalim, the Rigi Gitlaya, not to make it at sheyaver aleha shiva yamim. You have to have 7 days. It's not halacha, it's kabbalah. You'll ask me why. I'm not a makubal, I don't know. But definitely, the minig is based on mikubalim. Where's the chiddush after 7 days? The answer is, the Levanah is still growing. It's still ma'asav v'hailach. You make a bracha on the chiddush from the day 7 and 8 and beyond. The sheet in the Gemara says not to do it after 7. We don't pass it like that. And what's interesting, this is quoted in Shulchan Aruch, Tav Chavav, Siv Daled, Mechabas Eimavochin Aleh Ad Sheyavru Zayin Yomim Aleh. So the Mechaber goes with the Rigi Gitlaya. The Pri Megadim in that Megiddos that I mentioned is very troubled by this. Why did he leave all the Rishonim, and the Gemara has a sheet that not after 7, and he only quotes in Shulchan Aruch, the only Zman is after 7. So he writes, I don't know, but I do it after 3 days. He writes that in Pri Megadim as well. And the Goyen also was makbid not to wait for 7. In fact, the Lashon of the Mishnah Berurah is V'roiv Achrayim Pligi al Zeh. They argue on this Mechaber to wait for 7. Shartzin, he says, it's the Bach, Magen Avram, Taz, Pri Chodesh, V'shar Achrayim, and that's the Ad Ramah. And like all these Paiskim, Dafka, do it after 3 days, me'es la'es. But Dafka, don't wait until Zayin Shleim. It's a big jump from 3 days to 7 days. And if you understand that the bracha is a better bracha on a chidush, so how do you wait for 7 days? Now, B'Kabbalah is wonderful, but it's Keneged Gemara and Keneged Masechta Sefer. So those that have the minig, you should know where it's coming from. It's al pi Kabbalah, and till 7, there's no havmina to do it. Those that do it after 3, is basically based on the Bavli and Masechta Sefer. That's as far as the earliest day to make Kidush Levanah. What is the latest day? So we saw a shita of 7 days, but really we paskin like Nardoi, ad sheish asa, until the 16th day. Now the Shulchan Aruch in Siv Gimel is very clear, V'loi ad b'chlal. Not including the 16th, but the end of the 15th is the cutoff point. The Mechaber seems to hold the entire 15th day you could do it. The Ramah, which is based on a Maril, says not really 15 full days. You make a cheshbon, it's 5+ hours earlier than the end of the 15th day. In other words, the Shulchan Aruch holds the complete 15 days. The Ramah says it's 15 days minus 5+ hours, because his cheshbon is based on the Moilid. You look at Mishnah Berurah, explains it beautifully. The question, of course, is why can you make it on the 16th day? There's still a pretty huge Levanah. In fact, the Levanah on the 17th day is much bigger than the Levanah on the 3rd day. So if it's a bracha and I know, why can you make it on the 18th day? Teretz is pashut. You're missing the point. The main focus is chidush. If the Levanah is decreasing, if it's shrinking, Zok the Beis Yosef, a very stark lashon, mevarchen al toisefes v'loy al chasaron, ki al toiva yesh lanu levarich. You can make a bracha on shrinkage. That's no good. That's, I wouldn't say klala, but that's not bracha. The point is, after it starts to shrink, is no good. If it's no good, then you can't make a bracha. In fact, I saw a Chiddush Pella, the Sefer Yeshua, that's the Tshuva Sefer Yeshua, Yudal, one of the Babad Rabbanim in Tarnopol. He was a Bendoi, he was a colleague and a correspondence with the Chavas Das. He says that after the Zman of the Ramah Zman of 15 days, don't even say Kiddush Levanah without Shema Malchus. What do you care if I say without Shema Malchus? Ma'lanu loyim shvachim she'einem meruyim. It's not a bracha that the Levanah is shrinking. Ein ze mavarach ela menayetz va'oimim b'loy Shema Malchus asidin litin esadin. It's an inappropriate bracha. You're making a bracha on the Levanah getting smaller. Okay, we'll soon see that we're not so makbid with that chiddush. But the point is, you can't make a bracha when the Levanah is on the decline. Now, this would explain another question someone asked me. He said, okay, I won't make it after 16. But isn't it a mile to make it the 14th better than the 3rd? It's a much bigger Levanah. But again, you're missing the point. The question here is missing the point. The bracha is primarily on Mechadesh Chadoshim. The bracha is on Chiddush. We also feel you have to have some Hana, but the focus is Mechadesh Chadoshim. Okay. So Baruch Hashem, we're doing pretty well. We see a minhag the first day. I think many people do it either the third day or the seventh day. The question is, whenever you talk about days, how do you cheshbon days? Is it the calendar day or is it the moiled? So I hope it should be, you should know the metzias is that the moiled is not necessarily similar to the day. This past month we had a pretty rare occurrence that the moiled was 2:10 on Shabbos. And of course, Rosh Chodesh Iyar was not Shabbos and not Sunday, it was Monday. So it's a day plus, the moiled was a day plus before the actual day of the Chodesh. So sometimes it's fakert, but the question is, whenever you talk about days, is it the day or the moiled? I hope it's pashit that in this regard, we look at the moiled. It's not nothing to do with the calendar day. The question is, what is the position, the reality of the Levanah? So once the moiled began, the Levanah should be visible. And that's why the Torah and the Shulchan Aruch and Siv Gimel, he says, whenever days it is, Mishas HaMoiled, V'loi Miyom Kviyas HaChodesh. The next question, of course, is, which moiled do we use? In other words, if you do moiled in Eretz Yisrael, our moiled, we have different time zone. So let's not mistake, there's a simple metzias here. The moiled is the same throughout the world. The moiled the sun, the moon that starts to become visible is the same throughout the world. In other words, when you're talking about night or day, the sun, that depends on what part of the world you are. Here it's day, Australia is night. The sun depends on the position where you are. But the moiled, and this is a metzias, is always the same throughout the world. The only question is, what Zman moiled should we announce? Should we announce 2:10, which is Yishalayim, or should we modify that and announce the moiled here in America? So Rav Henkin in Gvuras Eliyahu, the end of Kuf Chav Gimel, says the minhag is to announce the moiled in Yishalayim. So that's why this month we announced 2:10, but you could have announced 7:10, which is the moiled here in America. But it's all the same Zman, the same. There's always one moiled. Rav Henkin does add in the next tshuva. He says, "Why announce the moiled Yishalayim?" Someone will take that literally and might make the Kidush Levanah too late. So he says, "Lamaisa, you still have extra time. It's not like you're the mamash the last moment." But I also, as Laharas Nassan says this in Chelik Zayin, Simon Chav Zayin, till Simon Lamri has a beautiful tshuva. That Lamaisa, if you do it a little late, is nish geferlich. But the point is, we use the moiled in Yushalayim, and wherever you are, you have to calculate what that means as far as you're concerned. The real big question is, fine, we use the moiled. Do you have to have me'es la'es? Now, this is a very good question. If a boy is born 8 o'clock this afternoon, his bar mitzvah will be 13 years from now on Matzoi Shabbos. He was born mamish the end of Sunday. Doesn't make a difference. Aktebach, bar mitzvah is totally on days. You don't need me'es la'es. The question is, when it comes to Kidush Levanah, do you need the third day, but it really could be just 2 days and a few hours? Or do you need 3 days or 7 days me'es la'es? So, one thing l'chayr is more mistavra. When it comes to 3 days, the insistence of the Rabbeinu Yoina, the Goyin, and those shitas, you have to have 3 days. It makes sense 3 days me'es la'es. If you need a sizable Levana, so how could it be totally in the third day? You can't be oblivious to the fact that the Levana is barely visible. And Taka the Mishnah Berurah and Sivka and Chav quotes a Pri Megadim that says that when you do 3 days, it has to be me'es la'es. So if you want to do it on the third day, you have to find out when the moiled was, adjust it to American time, and then make sure it's 3 days me'es la'es. What I saw, a beautiful yisoid in the Sefer Hilchis Chag B'Chag Amid Reish Pei Hey, He says, but the truth is, if you look at the Rabbeinu Yoina, it could be you don't need me'es la'es. Rabbeinu Yoina says, don't do it the first day, do it either the second or third day. Now, what kind of directions is that? Either second or third? Make up your mind, second or third. So he wants to say, Rabbeinu Yoina holds, you don't need me'es la'es. Therefore, it could fluctuate, either the second day or third, because you don't need me'es la'es. But it's not like the Mishnah Berurah. I think many people are makbid, the third day has to be me'es la'es. Regarding those that wait dafka 7 days, so al pi Kabbalah, if you know Kabbalah, you could start speculating 7 me'es la'es or not. But if the lashon of the Rigi Gitlaya and the Shulchan Aruch at sheyavru shiva yamim oleha somehow sounds like you have to have 7 full days me'es la'es. The Ramami Pano, who's also in Mekubal and Siman Ayin Ches and the Chuvas, and the Oirab and Sifkat and Yudalid, says, Fakert, at sheyavru shiva yam aleh means once you get into the 7th day, you don't need me'es la'es. Okay, each person follows his minig. What I did see somewhat of a compromise, if the 7th day is Matzoi Shabbos and it's not me'es la'es, then you could be mekel. As Isaac, the Orchos Chaim quoting the Marsham, the truth is everybody has their minhagim. At least now you know where your minig is coming from. Me'es la'es or not really depends on which is your minig. The next question, an important question this year we had, I think either 1 or 2 months, is what is the latest man for Kidush Levanah? Sometimes there's a rainy season, Chodesh Av, Chodesh Tishrei, both rainy seasons. So the Mechaber says, beyond, you can't do it on the 16th day. The Mechaber says the complete 15th day, you could do it. The Ramah says, the end of the 15th, you have to stop again 5+ hours. The question is, B'di'eved, is there any way to do it on the 16th night? Let's say it was a cloudy month. So the Bialacha quotes the Knesset HaGdoila, that yes, you could do it on the 16th night. Because the Gemara says, till 16th, va'ad b'chlal. Zakti Bialacha, it's very sure to be saimach on that, because like the Ramah, even 15, you don't have 15 full days. So don't do it. You want to do it without Shema Malchus. Again, that's not like the Sefer Yeshua that we saw earlier. The Yavitz and the Bialacha says this also. One thing I'll tell you, don't do it on the 16th day. But let's say it's a really cloudy, rainy month, you could rely on the Mechaber, even Ashkenazim, and do it the full 15 days. So you gain like 5+ hours. But the point is, after 16th, it's already chesaron. How could you make a bracha b'shemu malchus on a chesaron? The Yeshuas Yaakov in Sifkat and Hay says, Rachik ma'oi to be soimech and make a bracha beyond 15th, and what could be a bracha levatala. So Lamaisa will be, let's be very clear. You try to do it before 15th. If b'shas adchak you could do it the complete 15 days, in other words, me'es la'es, 15 full days, like the Mechaber Shita. If b'shas adchak gadol, after 15th, you want to do it without Shema Malchus, okay, but not with Shema Malchus. There's an incredible tshuva of the Heilig Chassam Sofer. You have to be Chassam Sofer to paskin like this, but in Siman Kuf Beis in the Tshuvas, there was a month that there was no Levana, very cloudy, and the people in that city were suffering from the cholera epidemic. And he says it was visible the end of the 15th, and many people started saying it, but the moon went in. And the people who were sick, physically sick from the cholera epidemic, got even more sick. They felt it's a very bad sign. They tried to do it, they couldn't do it. And the fact that it was out, it went in. And he says it's known that a person that has this epidemic, if he's depressed, it could have a very bad effect on his health. And they wanted Pasha to be able to do it on the 16th night. Pasha, they felt his Pekuach Nefesh. So he was Saimach on the Knesset HaGdoila. You could even make a bracha on the 16th night. And he writes there were hundreds of people that made the bracha b'simcha gedola on Leil Tezayin on the 16th night. That wasn't the Chassam Sofer's plak. Someone paskin and the Chassam Sofer tried to find a justification for that minig. But again, that's only because it has a sort of a pikuach nefesh undertone. But l'didan, in fact, I even saw the Chachma Shloima, that's Reb Shlomo Kluger, on the page in Shulchan Aruch. He's even wondering if you could rely on the Shulchan Aruch and do 15 full days. He says, we had such a shaila, and I decided we could be saimech and do it the entire 15th day, but Lamaisa, the clouds came out and we didn't do it. It seemed like he was happy they didn't do it at the end of the day. Because to do it, not like the Ramah, so, the end of the 15th, you could be saimech. But to do it on the 16th day seems to be highly problematic. There's an old tumult. There was some gedolim that felt if, let's say, you missed the 15th day, and a person's distraught, it's not pekuach nefesh, so to do it with a bracha, we don't do. Is it an eitzah to take out a Gemara, or better yet, take out a Rambam? And if you take out the Rambam says, what's the bracha Levanah? Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech ha'olam, and start learning Rambam. Take out a Rambam, and go to a place with a street light, you could read, and say, what's the bracha on Kidush Levanah? Baruch atah Hashem, and you'll read the Rambam's nusach of Kidush Levanah. What do you gain by that? You could say bracha b'shem HaMalchus. But, you're not saying a bracha necessarily, you're learning a Rambam. So, there were those that advised that, but then again, others say, if you do mean it for Kidush Levanah, it's a bracha levatol. If you take out a Gemara, you have another problem. Because the Gemara says, what's the bracha? Baruch, v'chulu, and the Gemara says the nusach. The Gemara leaves out the Shem HaMalchus. So what are you going to do? Take out a Gemara and say, Zok the Gemara, Baruch atah Hashem. There's no such Zok the Gemara. The Gemara is not Baruch, the Gemara says Baruch, and the Gemara says the nusach. So although some did it, but again, it's problematic. A shtickle mamonafshach. Fine. So we have the first, the third, the seventh. Now the big question is, where did Motzei Shabbos as a preference come from? If Motzei Shabbos the third or seventh, so you don't need Motzei Shabbos. The Torah says it seems to be this the independent new day of Motzei Shabbos. Where did that come from? And again, if you're going to wait beyond 7, so why is that a Maila? You're waiting beyond the Chiddush. So the truth is, Rabbeinu Yoina asked this question. What kind of Maila is Motzei Shabbos? But Lamaisa, there is a very prominent source for Motzei Shabbos. And that's the simple reading of the Masechta Seifrim. Ein levarchin, the Lashon, don't do it al ha'yereich ela Motzei Shabbos, keshu mevusim uvkelim noyim. Now the simple pshat in the Masechta Seifrim is, a person is a Shabbos Yid, it's still somewhat Shabbos before Havdalah, and he's wearing his big day Shabbos, and he's in his Shabbos mode. A whole Shabbos we walk around with Malachim escorting us. The whole week we don't say Iskavdu Mechubadim when we go to the Beis HaKisei, the Shulchan Aruch Paskins, we don't have Malachim. But Friday night we say Shalom Aleichem, Tzeichem Shalom, Vayachem Shalom. We're very hamish with Malachim. A Shabbos Yid is a Shabbos Yid. So Masechta Seifrim advises a better Yid will make a better Kiddush Levanah. I'll say, what kind of Maila to be B'Simcha? I mean, B'Simcha is a general klal. Why is that a specific Maila in Kiddush Levanah? The Torah is very pashut. We spoke about it not so long ago. The Gemara says that Kiddush Levanah is Mekabel Panei Ashchina. That's why we stand. That's why we put our feet together. That's why we face Mizrach. And that's why you have to go out of the building, not under a roof. You have to be Mekabel Panei Ashchina. And now we see a new Maila in Kabbalah's Panei Ashchina. Do it in a time that you are at your best. You're in your highest madrega. The Levush in Siv Beis writes, since it's like Kabbalah's Ashchina, Imu Efshala Yechaven, not to do it until Motzei Shabbos, K'di L'Hagdol P'nei Shchina Derech Kavod U'V'Simchas Leivav. So we see the Maila of Kiddush Levanah on Motzei Shabbos is a better person. The better Levanah is the Chiddush. The better person is Motzei Shabbos. Now, I had a question. We know we take B'Samim Motzei Shabbos because we experience a sort of a depression of the Nefesh. So it seems that on Motzei Shabbos we're in a bad mood. Why are we saying that it's a better mood? So Pashut, I would say, maybe Shabbos is Shabbos. Until Havdalah, we're still okay. Even though we made Havdalah and Tefillah, we're still okay. Once you start making Havdalah, then you decline. Maybe that's the shot. I'll say a few minutes makes a difference. That I could tell you. The Ramah, the end of Reish Sadik Gimel, says that about the minig to say a slow v'urachim and a slow baruch hu. Why? To keep the Shabbos. Now, how slow could you make it already? But another moment of Shabbos is the greatest Hain Rav. So maybe taka until Havdalah we're doing great. Havdalah we begin our descent, and therefore you need psamim. Could also be that the pain we feel is vay of the nefesh. That's a spiritual chsarim. The neshama feels that pain. Maybe the guf is still flying high, and therefore the Kidush Levanah is better Matzai Shabbos. But whatever the case is, the Shulchan Aruch in Siv Beis Taf Chavav quotes Masechta Seifrim. You do it on Matzai Shabbos when you're mavusim ubegadim noyim. Now, in other words, let me put this clearly. Day 1 or 3 is a maila in the Levana. Matzai Shabbos is a maila in the person. In other words, day 1 or 3 is a maila in the Chefza. Matzai Shabbos in the Gavra is a better person. The Magid Misharim, that's the Beis Yosef, learned with the Malach. He records in the Shtickle on Shir Hashirim that the Malach told him a month that you Mekadesh Levana on Matzai Shabbos is a very good siman toy for a good month. And the Magen Avraham Mishnah quote this lahalacha. The Munkache in the Mukher Chaim has a problem, and he says, who said? Maybe it's only for a person as great as the Beis Yosef. For him, they're simanim. Also, he has a good taina. The Malach was not makbid on Zayin Shleimim. So therefore, you could do a Matzai Shabbos. But for us, it's hard to do. So that's why he says, just disregard this Magid Misharim. Now, there's a problem with that, because the Magen Avraham Mishnah quote this Magid Misharim. But certainly, last night we didn't do Kidush Levanah. It's not a simon Laitayv Chas V'Shalom. We are going to go with the Minchas Elazar, that we try to do it in the best time, and everything is a simon Toiv. One thing l'chayr is pashit, that for the same reason Matzai Shabbos is a Maila, it makes sense Matzai Yom Tov is a Maila. Because again, a person comes out of Yom Tov, you don't even need B'samim on Matzai Yom Tov, so you're better off than Shabbos. Which Yom Tov could we make in Matzai Yom Tov? I mean, Matzai Sukkot and Pesach is much too late. The answer is Haboleinu L'Toiva Matzai Shavuos. Now, granted, for those that don't wait for Matzai Yom Kippur, there might be also a Maila of Matzai Rosh Hashanah. You have to make a cheshbon if it's already Gimel Me'ez La'ez. The question is, to what extent do I wait for Matzai Shabbos? If let's say Matzai Shabbos is the 12th of the month, I should wait for I wait for, let's say, for the 7th. Zayin Shleimim. So I can't do it the first Matzai Shabbos. Should I wait for the second Matzai Shabbos, which is the 12th of the month? So the truth is, as I told you earlier, some Bichlal don't wait for Matzai Shabbos. If you hold it's an absolute must, first the 3 days, how could you wait for Matzai Shabbos? Matzai Shabbos could be 7, could be 8, could be 6 even. And Ma'aser Rav of the Gra, Kuf Nun Tes, never delay. Don't wait for 7, and don't wait for Matzai Shabbos, and we'll soon see don't wait for Matzai Yom Kippur, and don't wait for Matzai Tisha B'Av. Do it after 3 days. The Goyin Shita was very clear. Nothing is Doicha, a quality Levana, which means Chidusha, which means 3 days. The Bach says it had the same Shita, and the Bi'alachas quotes this La'alacha. Now you have to understand, you might wonder, how could the Goyin just ignore a Masechta Soif and Matzai Shabbos and insist on 3 days? But I think this is a beautiful Shitasai, because the Goyin went with their Ben Yoina that held them. Masechta Soifim holds that the real reading is the better Levana. 3 days the better Levana. So there's no source to make it on Matzai Shabbos. But if you learn the simple reading of the Masechta Soifim, it says Matzai Shabbos. But the Goyin, the Ben Yoina, were not limited to Matzai Shabbos, because their reading was a better Levana after 3 days. Lamaisa, the Shita of those that follow Minig Hagra, you do it 3 days. Nothing is Doicha. Again, not Matzai Shabbos, Matzai Tisha B'Av, Matzai Yom Kippur, not 7 days. Those that don't wait for Matzai Shabbos, but they want to be Yoitza the Masechta Seifrim, there's an Eitzah. Grada the Ramah in Siv Beis quotes Halacha, if you do it during the week, put on Big Day Shabbos. There are some tzaddikim that still will put on their Big Day Shabbos even during the week. So if you want to be Yoitza the Goyin and have a little Shabbosdik, so put on Big Day Shabbos during the week. Or Chashulchan and Siv Zayin doesn't mean Big Day Shabbos Mamish, it means nice clothing. Now, those that wait, that are makbid on 3, generally will not wait for Matzoi Shabbos. What I've seen more often than not, those that wait for Zayin Shleimim will wait for Matzoi Shabbos. And I think the cheshbon is pashut. If you hold 3, you want a small Levanah. So you can't wait till Matzoi Shabbos. You can't wait till 7, Matzoi Shabbos. But if you're going on Pi Kabbalah, it's not the 7th day is a Maila, but not before 7 days. Al Pi Kabbalah, not before 7. Now, once the Nusach is not before 7, so you can wait till Matzoi Shabbos. And that's why those particular Chassidim that go with the Zayin Shleimim, Chassidim and Svardim, they might wait till Matzoi Shabbos, even though it's beyond Zayin Shleimim. Now, some people will fluctuate. They'll wait for Zayin Shleimim, but if Matzoi Shabbos is before, they'll do it before. But B'derech Klal, those that wait for Zayin Shleimim will not do it Matzoi Shabbos before, because not Zayin Shleimim. But let's say the 7th is Thursday night, they will wait till Matzoi Shabbos and do it on Matzoi Shabbos to have Zayin, beyond Zayin Shleimim, but also Matzoi Shabbos. The Shulchan Aruch quotes the Trumas Hadeshin in Siman Lamed Hey, how long should I wait? Matzoi Shabbos is unconditional? No. You have to be careful not to lose the bracha. If Matzoi Shabbos is Yud, or earlier, you can wait for Matzoi Shabbos. If Matzoi Shabbos is Yud Aleph, you're risking, you might miss it. It might be cloudy for the next few nights. So the Ramah Shulchan Aruch makes the cutoff point. You can wait for Matzoi Shabbos if it is Yud B'chodesh. In other words, you'll wait a few days, but not more than that. This Memela will give us clarity in another question. 2 months a year, people wait beyond Gimel or even Zayin, and that is Matzoi Tisha B'Av and Matzoi Yom Kippur. The question is, why wait? And don't forget, if you wait for Matzoi Yom Kippur, it's always Yud Aleph, because Yom Kippur is Yud. And if Tisha B'Av is Nidcha, it's also Yud Aleph. I thought we don't wait past Yud. So the source of waiting beyond Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur is the Maril in the Minhagim, Aseres Meitshuva Vav. Maril says that since it's so important to have Simcha, we saw the Masechta Seifrim, Mevussim, you have to be B'Simcha. Who's Simcha in the Aseres Meitshuva? We have a Pachat from Emes Hadin. And certainly, he adds there, and in Hilchas Tisha B'Av, Ois Tes of the Maril, he says more Barichis, until Tisha B'Av, the 9 days, is Molei Avelis, that is very inappropriate for saying Kidush Levanah B'Simcha. So that's why, for the same reason, since an integral part of the mitzvah is Simcha, until Matzoi Yom Kippur, it's Pachad Adin, Matzoi Tisha B'Av is Avelis, we cannot make Kiddush Levanah. Now, Lamaisa, this is quoted in the Ramah in Taf Kuf Nun Aleph Ches regarding Matzoi Tisha B'Av, and in the end of Taf Reish Beis regarding Matzoi Yom Kippur. Now, Lamaisa, you could understand that the Gra did not wait until after Yom Kippur, because he holds Gimel is almost the right time. How could you wait beyond that? And Takan Bir HaGra, he says not to wait, and both Bir HaGra and Ma'aser Rav. Now the truth is, this is the Kal V'chomer. The Goyin didn't wait to Matzoi Shabbos, even though it said in the Masechta Seifrim, and even though it could be Vav, Zayin, Ches, he still didn't wait. But to wait for Matzoi Yom Kippur, that's not a mile, it says in Masechta Seifrim, and also it's Yud Aleph already. So the Goyin definitely did not wait until Matzoi Yom Kippur. But the truth is, there's another reason why many don't wait for Matzoi Yom Kippur. Now listen to a beautiful reason. You have a pachad of a Yom Adin. Okay, good. So what are you doing about it? Sitting home and biting your nails? What are you going to do? Zok the Levush, both in Tav Chavav and Tav Reish Beis, have a great idea. You're worried about the Yom Adin? Follow the Mishnah's recommendation. If someone's a Beinani, do a mitzvah achas and be machriya. So go out and make Kiddush Levanah during a Aseres Meitshuva, and Zok the Levush, you'll have a Ksivach Sima Toiva. The mitzvah of Kiddush Levanah will be machriya. So now another reason why not to wait beyond Yom Kippur, because you could do it b'simcha before, because this is going to make all the difference. What I found absolutely beautiful, you think about that, what one Kidush Levanah could do to a person. We think, Kidush Levanah, nice mitzvah. That might make a difference of Chaim and not Chaim, Rahman al-Islam. Look what a bracha is. But what's even more inspiring, the Levush in Taf Reish Bey adds, the Ramah says to wait. Don't you need schusim? Zok the Levush, the schus of waiting to do it after Yom Kippur, to do it with more simcha, that will be machriya. So it's not even the schus of a mitzvah. The schus of a zehiris in a mitzvah might make all the difference. Now the Bir HaGra on Hilchas Yom Kippur points out, don't wait. Why not? Because the schus of Kidush Levanah ma machriya. I had a shtickle kash on that. Why do you have to say the reason is the schus of the mitzvah? Say we don't push off the mitzvah. So it could be he wanted to say even like the Ramah that does wait occasionally, but how could you wait beyond Yom Kippur? But the Goyin would not wait for two reasons. First of all, we never delay it, and also the schus of Kidush Levanah makes all the difference. Now, if your minig is like the Ramah to do it after Yom Kippur, the Paiskim seem to say mefurish, you do it right after davening, even though you're still not wearing shoes, and even though you didn't eat. You might recall Matzoi Tisha B'Av, it seems to be just the opposite. You first, after davening Matzoi Tisha B'Av, you go home and you eat a little bit, and you come back with shoes, and you do it. So Ma'anish Tani Yom Kippur from Tisha B'Av, the teretz is very pashut. Even Matzoi Tisha B'Av, they're still aveilus till the next day. So it's not the perfect time to do it. But go straight for Ma'ariv with your slippers without eating, that's not yet simcha at all. Go home, eat a little bit, put on your shoes, try to get back to normal life. Hopefully you'll change channels from Tisha B'Av to beyond, then you could do it. But Matzoi Yom Kippur, it's a wonderful, wonderful Yom Tiv. Forget the Baskel is crying out, Leicha Chol B'Simcha. We just spent the day being a malach. It's not a bad idea to say Kidush Levanah as a malach without shoes. It's a Yom Tiv, it's a Matzah Yom Tiv. You don't need anything to improve the quality of that moment. And Taka, the Mishnah Berurah and Hilchas Tisha B'Av says, don't make Kidush Levanah until you eat and come back with shoes. But he says, if you don't have a minyan later, you could do it even after davening. Probably some people after davening do it right away because they're afraid they won't have a minyan. But Matzah Tisha B'Av Lalacha, go home and eat and come back with shoes. Matzah Yom Kippur Adarabah, take advantage of being a malach, go out with your slippers and say Kiddush Levanah as a Matzah Yom Kippur, Matzah Yom Tiv, extra special simcha. What I must mention, in Ma'aser Rav it says the Goyin did not wait for Matzah Tisha B'Av, he did it during the month. It's not muchach. If you look in the Bir HaGra, he does not say a word on when Ramah says to wait for Matzah Tisha B'Av, he doesn't say a word. And in the Ma'aser Rav HaSholem, he says it's not so posh the Goyin didn't wait till Matzah Tisha B'Av. Because Matzah Yom Kippur he waited because there was a Yom Tiv. And besides that, you have the Goyin did not wait for Matzah Yom Kippur because he wanted the schus of doing a mitzvah to be machriya. But and the Chodesh Av, there's no schus. Maybe Taki shouldn't do it during the 9 days. Maybe it's better to do it Matzah Tisha B'Av. So he writes, it's not clear what the Goyin Shita was regarding Matzah Tisha B'Av. Someone asked me, rather, it was Sar B'Tevis. He heard Epis, you're not supposed to do it on a Matzah Tainis. So I wanted to tell him it's not an Epis, it's rather Ramah. The Ramah and Siv Beis, Ramah is a Pli de Gechidish. Don't do it on Matzah Tainis, not Matzah Tisha B'Av, and not Mashar Tainis. Because after a Tainis, you're not in a very good mood. The Magen Avram, the Mishnah Berurah says, but the As Achrayim is you're allowed to do it on Matzah Tainis. But there is Epis Ashita, yes, the Ramah said not to do it on Matzah Tainis. The truth is, if you go with that Ramah, not do it on Matzah Tainis, it would make sense that it's worse to do it Leil Asar B'Tevis. Because Leil Asar B'Tevis has some halachis of Avelis. Mishnah Berurah says not take a shower, like some. So Leil is worse than Matzoi. So if you don't do it on a Tainis, you don't do a Matzoi, l'chayr hu adin Leil. But the minig is we do it on either one. The Taz says, but there's one Matzoi Tainis you're allowed to do Kiddush Levanah. and that is Matzoi Tainis Esther. Why? Because it's getting close. It's almost the end of the day. It's mamish. It's already. It's Yodalit. Rabbi Yankov and Emes Yaakov wonders, why do you have to find a reason to justify for saying it on Matzoi Tainis Esther? Because it's getting late. Fakert, it's a Yom Tiv. The Yom Tiv is called Purim. So isn't that enough of a reason? So Rabbi Yankov says, maybe you'll say the Taz is talking about when Tainis Esther is Mugdam. When you're doing it Thursday, so it's Thursday night, so it's not a Yom Tiv. But if it's Thursday night, then it's not the last night, because you can still do it Friday night, and you can still do Matzoi Shabbos. So in other words, it comes out that on Matzoi Tainis Esther, there are two reasons you're allowed to do it. Matzoi Tzoim Gedalia is also a Matzoi Rosh Hashanah, might be a Yom Tiv, but again, most people do wait till Matzoi Yom Kippur, and also you have to make sure, if you do it, make sure that it is Gimel Yamim Me'es Le'es. I'll ask you a thought-provoking question. Till today, you didn't consider it, but it's a question all the Rishonim grapple with. We're talking about doing it on Matzoi Shabbos or Matzoi Yom Tov because it's a Maila of a Dehoibenkeit. But it's more Dehoiben than Matzoi Shabbos? Shabbos. You're not depressed at all. You don't even summon on Shabbos. So the Maril, in the end of Hilchos Shavuos, wonders why we don't do it on Shabbos or Yom Tov. Beautiful, do it on Shavuos. Zog the Maril, you can't do it on Shabbos or Yom Tov because it's Chutz L'Tchum. The one is Chutz L'Tchum. And also, you're not allowed to say Tfilos on Shabbos or Yom Tov. You can't say Atchina. But he does concede, my Rebbe, the Marash, did make Kidush Levanah on Matzoi Shabbos Shechal b'Yom Tov. And presumably it's no different on Yom Tov or Shabbos. His Rebbe did do it on Shabbos or Yom Tov. Now, this is very strange. What does Tchum have to do with me or you? I mean, when we make Kidush Levanah, we don't land on the moon. Halavai. And also, ain't Tchumim L'mayla we pass, because there's no Tchumim beyond earth. And Taka the Rashba and Chelik Dalad Memches asked this on the Maril. What does that mean? Tchumim. And he said, I don't believe the whole thing. It must be a Talmud Torah wrote it. And that's the truth. The Maril's Rebbe did it. So you look at Marami Panu in Simonai and Ches Nechuvas, he has Al Pi Kabbalah a few reasons. One of them is Ein Marvin Simcha B'Simcha. Kidush Levanah is such an extraordinary Simcha. Don't do it on Shabbos or Yom Tiv. The Radvaz and Chelik Dalet Kuf Lam Gimel has his own Cheshbin. The Sharatzian in Sifkat Yud Bey says a really interesting reason. If you're going to make Kiddush Levanah, you might come to dance on Shabbos, Chas v'Shalom. Those that don't dance on Shabbos, that's the no-no. Some say you might come to carry out the Sid if you do it on Friday night, like you don't make Tashlich on Rosh Hashanah Shechal b'Shabbos. So all these reasons, you could challenge. What I mean, you make your own Gezeris, and if you dance, it's not the end of the world. Lamaisa, it's interesting. The Maril says not to do it. His Rebbe did it, and the Ramah quotes the minig of the Maril. But don't forget, even the Maril said his Rebbe did it, and that's why a month that there's no other choice, you're allowed to do it on Friday night. This past Tishrei, many people did it. The way it was, Sukkot was Sunday night. It was a very cloudy month. They predicted rain on Matzoi Shabbos, and many people did it on Friday night. Now you look in the Shalom Meshiv in Chelik Aleph, in Madura Aleph, Chelik Gimel, Kufnan Aleph, he says beferish. The Bach in the Chuvas in Simon Pei writes emphatically, if you can't do it any other time, do it on Friday night. If someone does differently, ein lei moich b'kat kadoi, he writes. Aruch HaShulchan says, let's not forget, really you could do it on Shabbos or Yom Tov. We don't do it because Maril says it, but if it's a question of losing it, he says, even if it's not the last night, which was this year, people wanted to do it Friday night because otherwise they might miss it on Matzoi Shabbos. Who said, why don't you wait for Matzoi Shabbos? Yeah, but I don't want to leave it to the last day. So the Aruch HaShulchan says, even if it's not the last night mamish, even if there is a Matzoi Shabbos, you could do it on Friday night. Grada, the Mishnah Berurah says, if it's the last night, you could do it on Friday night or on Yom Tov. Rab Tuvi has a tshuva in Emek Halacha in the end in Simon Lamed where he proves that yes, you could even if you have two nights besides tonight, another night, you could do it if need be on Leil Shabbos. Grada, someone asked me, he taka did it this year. They announced to do it on Friday night of Chodesh Tishrei, but only the bracha and not the rest of it. You want to know why? Why do we get shortchanged? So Aruch HaShulchan says why. Because Lamaisa, one of the reasons is not to make extra tchinos on Shabbos or Yom Tiv. So a bracha you're allowed to say, you can't lose by bracha. But to add extra tchinos, if it's Friday night, only the bracha and nothing else. If it ever comes out, I remember one year, many years ago, that we once made it on Leil Sukkos. Again, it was a cloudy Tishrei, and it was obviously it was before the 15 full days. Same thing, Yom Tov and Shabbos is all the same. Interesting question. Lamaisa, in this time of the year, many people daven early Ma'ariv. Now, on Shabbos, early Ma'ariv is okay. Early Ma'ariv during the week is not so lechatchil, it's a big b'diavad, but they daven mincha before Shkia, Ma'ariv after Shkia. Can you make Kidush Levanah right afterwards? People say, well, I say Krishma, I say Svira, can I say Kidush Levanah? So I'm not getting into if you're supposed to say Svira so early, but to say Kidush Levanah early, even after Shkia, if it's Bein Hashmashas, is problematic. The Sefer HaOger in Tov Kuf Tzadik Aleph and the Shebali Leked in Kuf Samach Zayin say, you can't say Kiddush Levanah until it's dark, so you have Hanah from the Levanah. Now, if you go outside Bein Hashmashas, you could see the Levanah clearly, but it's not yet giving off light. There's a difference between seeing it and Hanah. And don't forget, one of the components of Kiddush Levanah is having Hanah. So you can't say it unless it's dark outside Laila. And the Shebali Leked adds, Ba'oid, because Gvul HaLavana B'Laila. Esirech V'Kechav L'Mem Shlois B'Laila. The sun is by day, moon is at night. You make a bracha on the moon in the domain of the moon, not by day. And the Ramah quotes this la'alacha not to do it until it's Laila. Zok the Mishnah Berurah, don't do it Bein Hashmashos. So this is the psak, not to do it, even if you have an early Ma'ariv and you say Krishma and you say Sfira, it has nothing to do with Kidush Levanah. Kidush Levanah is a din in darkness. Now, what does that mean, darkness? You have to wait for Rabbeinu Tam 72 minutes. So the Kloisenberger in Chelik Beis, Kuf Ayin Ches, you don't have to wait for the Rabbeinu Tam's Laila, but it has to be Laila to say Kiddush Levanah. The latest time to say Kiddush Levanah, so there's no doubt about it, it's Lav Dafka until Chatzois, like Krishma is supposed to be Lechatchila. You could say it Kol HaLaila. The question that the Paiskim discuss is, can you say it even after Alois? Pashit, Alois is already considered day. But I did see the Seiris Tshuv and Kuf Tzadik Tes and Nuskin Karel and Chut Hashani and Hilchas Yom Tov and Yanim Yud Beis says, when it comes to Kiddush Levanah, it doesn't make a difference if it's Yom. Since Alois is still dark and Levanah is giving off light, you could still say Kiddush Levanah after Alois. In other words, it's a din in darkness, not night or necessarily day. Let me leave you with two ha'aras to think about. One is a boy's bar mitzvah, Yud Iyar. Should he wait to say Kiddush Levanah until his bar mitzvah? What's the shayla? So if someone is bar mitzvah Shabbos, this past Shabbos, and he's doing things really right, he should not make early Shabbos the day of his bar mitzvah. Because if he makes early Shabbos, he's making Kiddush when he's still a cotton, because you don't become bar mitzvah, you make early Shabbos. We spoke about this barichas. So really it's best to do a deraisa in the time when he's a gadol. So we say the same with Kiddush Levanah. Why do it als cotton on Zayin Iyar? You could do it on Yud Iyar when you're a gadol. But then again, and Taka, I should mention, some hold, wait for your bar mitzvah. That's the Pesach Frank and Hajjus Kodesh in Kuf Tez Vov and the Chazayin Avadia and Chanukah, Omid Shinai and Gimel has a whole arichas. Wait till your bar mitzvah. Reb Shlomo Zalman, Alicha Shlomo Tefillah Yud Aleph says he doesn't understand why you have to wait. You can wait from today till tomorrow. You're not going to make Kiddush Levanah a deraisa. At most, it's only the Rabbanan. Who says you have to have a gadol doing a derabanan? Now, those that hold to wait till bar mitzvah, I can understand why. If you do Kiddush Levanah al cotton, it's two derabanans. If you wait till your bar mitzvah, it's only one derabanan. But Rabbi said, to wait till Yud, I can understand. But let's say the mitzvah is Yud, Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, or beyond. If we don't wait for even a Maila, not that. And last but not least, someone told me this past Chodesh Tishrei, he had an Einfall. He had to do a taka on Friday night, but he was not happy doing it on Shabbos, so he davened mincha, and before he was Makabel Shabbos, he made Kidush Levanah, so it's like Bein HaShmashayt, so he wasn't over on doing Kidush Levanah on Shabbos. So that's an example, unfortunately, of Olayam Moritz Chassid, because he did it Bein HaShmashayt when you're not supposed to do it. He's worried about Chilul Shabbos, there's no Chilul Shabbos, it was only a mitzvah. Guten Tag to you all.
Shem Irgen Shir Torah, we would like to do a big yashikayach to Rav Smith for today's shir. Rav Smith will say a seekum of today's shir in 5 minutes. Rav Chananya ben Akash Shem Rav Tzakadosh Baruch Hu L'Zachis es Yisrael Figure Hibbel and Torah Mitzvah Shenem Adonai Chofetz Leman Tzidkoi Yagdol Torah V'Yader.
It's on the Tishri already. I think which button to press it.
Rabbi Say, so
Tiniest Esther moved the man. Tiniest Esther, that's for sure.
Rabbi Say, the preferred day and time for the Sikkim of the Shir on Kidush Levanah is right now.
Just to review what we learned today, Bez Hashem, the bracha of Kidush Levanah is a unique bracha. It's not a typical nenin. You don't have to hana. It's a bracha on the Chiddush of the new moon reappearing, its rejuvenation, its rebirth. But it has to be hana, that it has to be a Levana that has the ability to give hana. So that's why there are basically two schools of thought in the Paiskim. Either you look at the Chiddush and forget about how big it is. Some would say even the first day you could do it. Most wait for 3 days minimally. But Al Pi Kabbalah, the reason to wait for 7 days is basically Al Pi Kabbalah. But definitely all agree that the Ikka point is Mechadish Chadashim. We have to make a bracha on the Chiddush of the Levana. Those that wait for 3 or 7, even though it's not the beginning, but it's getting bigger, you see the active Chiddush as it progressively gets bigger and bigger. All agree as soon as possible to do it. It's beyond Zriza Magdimin LaMitzvahs. It's more than Zriza Magdimin. It's a better bracha when it's said in an earlier time, because that's the tzura of the bracha. The more chiddush, the better it is. B'shas at Chaksab, we could do it even on the first day. L'chatchila, we wait for 3, unless your minig is to do it on the first day. 7 days is Al Pi Kabbalah. Many disregard Al Pi Kabbalah because we have to do it like the Gemara. Anytime we do calculate 3, 7, or even 1 is always based on the moiled, not on the calendar day. The moiled that we are given is Eretz Yisrael, so make sure you adjust the zman to where you're living before you decide when to say it. Me'es la'es or not me'es la'es is totally minhagim. Many people for Zayin would insist on Zayin Shleimim, me'es la'es. Some are not makbid. Gimel also could be like that, so I would say me'es la'es is totally on your minik. After 15 full days of the moiled, you should never say the bracha with Shema Malchus. You could say it without Shema Malchus. If it's the end of the 15th, even though the Ramah says not to do it in the last 5+ hours of the 15th day, but b'shas achak you could make it like the Mechaber, do it 15 full days, me'es leis, from the moiled that we have on the calendar. The source of Matzoi Shabbos is the Masechta Seifim. It's a better person, it's a better bracha. The same as Matzoi Yom Tiv, a better person, a better bracha. When is it Negeya? Those that do 3 will not wait till Matzoi Shabbos generally. Those that wait for 7 generally will wait for Matzoi Shabbos. Someone just told me by there, the minig is to wait 7 and not wait for Matzoi Shabbos. I guess Zayin Shleimim is a minig. But whenever you wait for Matzoi Shabbos, it's not beyond the 10th of the month. Because you have to leave some emergency hatch just in case it gets cloudy or rainy. So beyond 10, we don't risk waiting for Matzai Shabbos. Many wait to do it after Matzai Tisha B'Av, Matzai Yom Kippur. Matzai Yom Kippur do it without shoes, without food. Tisha B'Av Fakeret with shoes and with food. The minig Agara is not to wait till Matzai Yom Kippur. Have the schus of Kidush Levanah on your side. Regarding minig Agara, Matzai Tisha B'Av is not clear. One thing we do see, the schus of Kidush Levanah is so incredible, that might be machri, or even the schus of waiting to do the Kidush Levanah until after Yom Kippur is so incredible. I forgot to mention, but you look in the El Yerabah on our Simon, he has an incredible story of someone that was about to be killed by bandits, and they gave him his last request, so he says, you know what, let me make Kidush Levanah. And they allowed him, and he miraculously escaped them because of the schus of Kidush Levanah. So it's not a kleinigkeit, we should do it with great simcha. Mitzai Tainis, the Rambam says not to do it, but the minig is to do it. L'chachila try to avoid it. But Mitzai Tainis Esther, you could do it l'chol hadayis. We don't do it on Shabbos or Yom Tiv. There are a few reasons, primarily al pi Kabbalah. Perhaps Allah, there are some reasons also. But if that's the last day or the second to the last day, you're allowed to do it on Shabbos or Yom Tiv. But do it only the bracha and not the tchinas that said afterwards. The halachas basically are that we don't do it at night, we don't do it by day, even bein hashmashas until it's Laila. You don't need Laila of 72, but not to do it until it's Laila, not on bein hashmashas. You're allowed to do it after chatzais, or maybe even after Alois HaShacha. A bacha bar mitzvah could wait until Yud if he wants to, but not beyond Yud. Some say do it right away no matter what it is. And basically, for those that are doing it on Shabbos, not to wait, not to do it on Bein Hashmashas, either wait till it's Laila to do it the quality time.
You didn't mention
a lot of things here.
this manner Zev that we have the weather predictors, although they're not 100%, but if you know for sure that it's going to be sunny till Tezvav,
I tell you the truth, I
if you
heard
should wait or not.
someone, and they said,